Vicki here, again with Vicki Boutin Mixed Media for American Crafts, and today I want to talk to you about backgrounds. I have been reading your feedback on my social media platforms, and a lot of the questions are, I love it, it's beautiful, I can't do it, how do you do it? Well, I'm going to show you today because you really can do this, and the one I'm going to focus on is this layout that had a lot of feedback, a lot of likes on Instagram and questions. They loved what this looked like. And I can't wait to show you how simple this is, because it really is. When you see this come together, you are going to be shocked at how easy it is to create this look. And see, I even put me on there, see? So we're gonna have fun and we're gonna make a fun layout using art crayons and gesso. The first thing I wanna talk to you about is gesso. So a lot of people are like, gesso, what do you use it for? Well, mainly it's a primer. You can get your backgrounds set up so that the mediums don't soak into the paper. You can also use it as like a really good white background if you're trying to like block out some of your paint finishes. Today I want to use it for what it's intended as, a background. I find when I do mixed media finishes in scrapbook pages that sometimes my paper buckles or the medium that I'm using isn't as vibrant as it should be, and it's all dependent on the type of paper you use. So instead of going out and buying, say, watercolor paper, I want to give you another option that you can just take standard cardstock, and I have a few done, and you can't see it because it's not meant to show, but there is a gessoed background on here. And what I find is when I gesso my background, the colors in the art crayons or even the paints or any of the medium watercolor, whatever I'm using, will be more vibrant, and also it doesn't soak into the paper, it sits on top of the gesso. So what's really awesome with this is my paper won't buckle. So if that's one of those things that when you're creating these backgrounds and you're finding, because you're using a lot of water, that you're getting like hills and valleys in your paper, this is a great way to reduce that. So I'm going to show you quickly. It's super easy. It's just an added benefit in this video of how to get the results I do with some gesso. So to do this, I'm going to take a little bit of gesso and I'm going to put it on a craft mat, saran wrap, whatever you want to use. Okay, a splat mat. And you just take a brayer and you brayer your gesso. So you don't need a ton. It's like painting a wall. And then you just go on and work that around your cardstock. When I'm doing this, I will do a whole bunch of sheets. Like I will take my whole package of white cardstock and I will have these all done. Because when you make the mesh, you might as well get everything done in one shot and then clean up. So that, look how easy that was. It does not matter if you cover every surface on here because that adds interest if you have some open spaces. The open spaces where it's just cardstock will accept the product a little different. So it's just like an added technique that you didn't even have to work for. So that is one thing I wanted to share with you, is how I prepare my backgrounds to accept all of the painterly and more heavier water-based techniques. So that's it. When you do these, like I said again, just do a whole bunch of them and then you have your backgrounds ready. So I'm going to move some of this stuff out of the way and use the backgrounds that I used so you don't have to watch me clean up. But you do want to clean this stuff up because even though it's water soluble, it's pretty thick. You'll want to clean your brayer off. I start with just my wipes. You can run them underneath your tap, whatever you want to do there, but just clean that stuff up. Again, I wouldn't waste this. I'd take my palette knife and put it back in the jar, but for time's sake, I'm just going to move this underneath the counter. And we are going to get into the meat and potatoes, the fun stuff now. So again, let's look at that background because I want you to see how beautiful that is. It is pretty watercolor, and I did all of this using the art crayons. So even though they come and you think, oh, is that like a Crayola or just a standard crayon? No, they're magic. These crayons, I just spent a whole month, 30 days, doing different techniques just with art crayons. So it is a little package you buy with lots of possibility, but I want to share this one because, like I said, you guys loved it and you were all like, I want a video to see how I can do this. Let me show you. So one of the things I find really helpful is a sheet of acetate. It is a Basil product. I love that I can get great painterly effects with this. You'll see a lot of people use plastic bags or maybe even packaging, back of stamps, whatever they want to use. But if you want to find something that you can have multiples of or replace if you lose what you've been using, this acetate is great. And I just cut it down to a manageable size. In another video, I'm going to show you how I use the whole sheet, but for this, I just cut it down to a smaller size. So whatever you find in your hand size fits and you're comfortable with, that's what you want to use. So we have what we need now to do this background to start is a sheet of acetate or whatever you want to use that you can, it's non-porous, that I can put art crayon on top and water. I have my gessoed background and I have my little sticks of magic art crayons. So I'm going to get right into it and show you how we can do this. I have my sheet of acetate. I'm going to start with the blue and I'm just going to scribble it right on to the page. You've seen me do this before, but I want you to see that it does not take a Picasso to get these kind of finishes. And then just take your mister, or you can have your jar with water and a paintbrush. You can use your finger, whatever you want. Just want to blend the crayon in, and it's okay if there's a few of the little pieces on there. It doesn't really matter for this, okay? I take this now and I'm going to flip it and kiss it. So do you see how the paper is not flat? I am actually curling the paper, or pardon me, the plastic, so that I can move my medium around on my background. And because it's on the gesso, do you see how it just kind of sits on top like an ice rink? It sits right on top there, and it dries pretty fast too, which is fun. So just go and you would continue to build. I'm going to put some more blue because I don't want just one circle at the top of blue. So this isn't a new technique. A lot of ladies do this, or crafters do it with watercolors. I just want you to see that you can do it with art crayons as well, because they really are like a watercolor product or an oil pastel, whatever you want to use them for. So I have the blue on there. All I do is take a paper towel or whatever I can find, right? It doesn't matter. Wipe that color off, and I will start now with, let's go with the pink. Pink's fun. And then you take, again, your brush, just blend the crayon and water and kiss it to your page. This is one tip, because you see I'm getting purple. If you want your colors to stay true to the color of the crayon, just let each layer dry. Don't go in with a heat gun, because if you are overzealous with the heat gun, which a lot of people are, you're baking your paper and you will put the buckles in the paper that you don't want. So a little bit of patience, go have a snack, come back and do the next color. But if you don't want, I like that it's blending and I'm getting a second, like I'm using two colors and getting a third color. That's kind of fun. So if you are pretty easy going with the way that this works, just go with it. If you want those colors to be true, and don't worry, if you break the crayon like I just did, right, it still works. I don't throw any of that stuff away. I put the water on. I'm going to go in with yellow. Oops, and spray it all over because it's how I roll. And then put some of the yellow in there. Look how easy this is. So I want you to stop and take a look. Super easy, super fun. If you want bigger circles of the area, just don't curl the paper as much. You can lay it flat. So that's how I went in and did the background. So I added all those colors on there with art crayons, water, and a sheet of acetate or plastic. And then to get the next, so that's it for the background. Now to do the butterflies that are on this layout, the only thing that you need to do is an extra sheet. So what I did is this on another sheet, and you might want to keep the colors truer, so do an area of pink, an area of yellow, an area of blue, so that these guys, because it almost, you see that there's purple, there's orange, they're not a mix of colors. I stayed true to either like two colors that are close out of the art crayons, or even one that I layered. If you let the first layer dry and then put another layer on top, you will build the depth of color. You can't do that wet on wet. You need to let it dry in between the layers, but that's how I did the background. And then all I did is picked a favorite stamp, and I used my butterfly moth stamp. I stamped it on the background with some black ink, and then I die cut it with the steel ruled dies. Now, if your set of stamps doesn't have this, guess what? Grab the scissors and fussy cut it. But the magic here is layering and foam squares. Once you stamp the butterflies, then you come in, you die cut them, and then all I did, do you see the little glitter on here? Here's the magic. You wanted to know, how do you add glitter? This is what I use. I use the matte acrylic gel medium, the Vicki Boutin matte acrylic gel medium. This isn't only for decoupage or to use as an adhesive, it's great with glitter. So again, you take a dry paintbrush, you wouldn't want water on it. I put a little bit on my craft mat or on a little saran wrap, and then I painted it on, and then you open up the glitter and you sprinkle it on top. And that's a great way to add, you don't have to buy a special product to add a little bit of bling to your stamped images. So again, to reiterate, that background was pretty easy. And then taking it a step further, I stamped another, or inked another background, painted it with the art crayons, used my stamps, because it's the gift that just keeps on giving. You can stamp that any way that you want, but by stamping it on the painted background and then adding a little glitter, and the other magic here is foam squares. That's the key to get this kind of look, is to layer these guys together and put lots of foam squares underneath. But I didn't have to buy a ton. It's 2 sheets of cardstock and my art crayons. A little bit of washi tape. I matted my photo, used some die cuts and stickers, but it is not a huge investment to get this fun customized to the color palette that you like, because this could have been in any color that you wanted. I like rainbows and butterflies, literally, so that's what I made. But you can do this with whatever you have. But these little guys really are not hard to use. But allow yourself the gift to play. It's okay if you don't do it right the first time, but a lot of the ladies will tell me, I saw it, I bought the package, I'm afraid to try. You have to try. You have to be okay with the investment of a sheet of cardstock and a little bit of imagination, a little bit of lesson from me, and then give it a shot. Okay, so that's it. That's what I wanted to share with you. I hope you try this. Please keep commenting. I want to know how you're doing. Give me the questions you need answered, because I'm there to answer them. I want you to be an artist, everyday artist, just like I am, and try all kinds of fun new painterly techniques. So give it a try and let me know how it goes.